All right, good evening and welcome to the 2025 Texas Girls Coaches Association State Cross Country Meet Preview. My name is Dan Aldrich. I'm from Fredericksburg High School and I'm representing TGCA tonight as the second vice president. Tonight, I have four coaches with us that are going to help us recognize the individual and team qualifiers headed to the state meet for this Friday and Saturday in Round Rock. From Wall, Texas, I have Coach Crisler. In the 3A division from A&M Consolidated, I have Coach Anthony Branch. From 5A, from Garden City, we have Coach Bates, 1A division, and we have Coach Freeman from San Antonio, Reagan, representing the 6A division. Each of them will cover their divisions later on who qualified from teams and give a shout out to some of the individuals. And then we'll kind of circle back around and talk about possible medalists in both team and individual status. So on behalf of TGCA, we want to thank you for listening tonight. And we'd like to invite everyone that's listening and watching to head down to Round Rock on Friday and Saturday over to Old Settlers Park. On Friday, we have three races. It'll start off with the 3A division. I believe they run at 8:15 a.m. And then at 9:30 a.m. will be the 5A division. And then it'll wrap up at 10:55 a.m. with the 1A division. And then there'll be a pause in the afternoon. The next set of teams will come down, and on Saturday morning, we'll kick it off again with the 4A division at 8:15 a.m. And then it'll be the 6A division racing second at 9:30, followed by the 2A division to wrap up the state meet on Saturday at 10:55. So Old Settlers Park is held in Round Rock, Texas. It's been the site of the state meet for a long time. And if those that don't know about it, this past year has been a lot of construction. Some coaches got a chance to head over to the McNeil meet in September and run the course. But at that time, a lot of the course was under construction. They're doing lots of improvements. So a lot of us are excited to head over to the state meet this week and see what the final course will be like this year. And then moving forward, it's supposed to be a pretty neat setup what the city of Round Rock has been doing over there. But for anyone that needs information, please go onto the web and go to the UIL website. All you have to do is type in UIL State Cross Country, and it'll take you to the website that gets you all of the schedules. It talks about qualifiers, past results. But most importantly, for spectators traveling, look at the spectator information, parking information. There will be construction. So there's going to be a lot of delays heading in there, but check out those maps. So we're going to dive on into the qualifiers, and we're going to start with Coach Crisler. His team from Wall was the runner-up in the 3A division. They're in Region 1, I believe. Is that right? Or no? Yeah, Region 1. Is that right, Coach Crisler?
Yes, sir. That is correct. Yes.
Awesome. Congratulations. Looking forward to seeing your team run over there. Take it away and let's talk about 3A.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Yeah, so Region 1, obviously, you got the juggernaut over there, Holiday. They came out on top again. You said to include some of the team averages and stuff. And if you've ever seen May Simmons Park up in Lubbock, it's a brutal course. And those kids ran really well for Holiday. Their team average was about 12:30. Of course, Kinley Atwood came out on top. She ran really well that day. So they'll, of course, be a team to look out for around Rock. We came in at second. Our team average was about 12:53. Third was Tuscola Gymnet at about 13:30, and then Dalhart rounded off with a 13:30. Props to Alpine and Dalhart too. They fought really well. There was a huge debate about who was going to come out fourth in that region, so they fought really well. And that was a really good race to watch in that 3A Region 1. Some individual runners, some of the medalists we got, Sky Ferris out of Clyde. I will say she was strap for strap with Kinley for about a mile or so, and then Kinley's just consistency kind of took over, but she's a really good runner out of Clyde High School. Rylan Rashik out of Iowa Park did really well as well. Silas Smith out of Childress and Adeline Borland out of Peaster. Four individual medalists. The teams won't be there, but these kids ran really well for their team. Moving on to Region 2, a really heavy region for 3A. You got Eustis came out on top, winning the Region 2 title with a team average about 12:40. One of their top runners is Carly Pittman. She ran at 12:07, so really well there as well. And then second place out of Region 2 runners-up were Whitesboro, a team that has really come on this season. I was talking to Coach Griffin at Holiday about it. You know, that's a team that's kind of come out of nowhere, kind of really build it up as they've gone this season. Averaged about a 12:52, and Briley Weddle was the best runner for them as well at 12:28. Pilot Point came in third with a 13:02 average, and Valley View rounded off the final four with a 13:03. To finish out Region 2. Some of those individual runners, Braylee Wood out of Quitman, Taryn Stoltz out of Paradise, Sadie Loftus out of Gladewater Sabine, and Allie McCormick out of Paradise. So Paradise had 2 medalists. That just shows the strength of Region 2. 2 medalists in the top 10, but their team was unable to qualify for the state meet. Moving on to Region 3, East Bernard with the team average of 1240. They won the Region 3 title. Samantha Fryer with the 1217. She was their top runner. East Bernard's got a solid 5. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to watch that team. They run really consistently. 1 through 5 finish really close together, so they got a strong team. West had a team average of 1334, but came second. They were runner-up in Region 3. Lola Jacek was their top leader and runner. McGregor with a team average of 1331. And then Sakuri Rosser with a 1352. So some lower times, but still really good teams that qualify for state. Those are the 4 teams out of Region 3. Again, some individual runners to look out for. Brindley McFarland, a really great runner. I don't know if you had a chance to watch her yet. She's a really strong runner. Peyton Kahn out of Franklin. Micah Heyman out of Nacogdoches Central Heights. And then to round it out, Melissa Flores Gonzalez out of Infinity Early College. So that was Region 3. And then Region 4, arguably a battle for 1 and 2, Poth versus Lytle. Poth came out on top with a team average of a 1332. Brooklyn Albert led that group with 1153. And second place was Lytle with a team average of 1246. I'm pretty sure the difference in team score was about 14 to 16. So it was really close finish, 1 and 2. And then third, San Antonio Cole with a 13-minute team average, and then San Diego with a 13-12. So really close race in Region 4, 1 through 4. And then individual runners, again, Julia Alcott, she might be, I think it'll come down, we'll talk about it later, but Juliet versus Kinley for that medal for State 3A out of Great Hearts, Northern Oaks, really good runner. Madison Teague, Caroline Finley out of Randolph, and then Cadence Schroeder out of Bishop. So that was Region 4. So that is 3A. I hit on some key runners in here and there. 3A is going to be quite the race, so we're excited to see where it goes.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach Crisler. We're going to move on over to the second race of the day. But before we do that, let me just kind of let everyone know out there too about how you qualify to the state meet. There are 4 divisions in the state of Texas, for those who don't know it. And what'll happen is that 16 teams will be running at the state meet, but it's 4 teams that qualify from each region, 4 of the 4 regions. And then there are 10 individuals that were not on a team that would advance to the state meet. They could or could not be in the top 10. Some of them probably are and are medalists, but some of them might be on the outside. Depends on how deep the team field is in each region. But we're going to hand it over to the second race of the day on Friday, which is the 5A division. Coach Anthony Branch from A&M Consolidated, the runner-up team coming out of Region 3. Coach Branch, let's hear about 5A.
Okay, well, 5A is going to be a lot of fun this week, and there was a lot of good racing that went on across the state. So I'm going to cover through Region 1. Obviously, up there, you had individual medalists. You had Molly Garrison, who added her second title with a time of 18:07. Also finishing in the podium, you had Amelia Anderson from Lubbock High, Jasmine Neary from Azle was in the top 3. And then you add in Natalie Vasquez and Geneva McWright from Colleyville Heritage and Grapevine. Very competitive race right there. But Molly pretty much dominated the race. She was led all the entire race, and she's very experienced and has got a lot of success, having been with that program for a very long time, having finished second and third the past 2 years in the state meet. As far as the team that qualified, obviously you had Alito, who was the champion. They scored 86 points. Grapevine was right behind them with 92 points. A new team that is up and coming, Burleson Centennial, claimed the 3rd spot. And then Colleyville Heritage, coach over there just keeps doing a great job qualifying his girls, and he just keeps plugging along. So he does such a great job there at Heritage. In the Region 2, pretty much this thing was dominated by Lovejoy. They're really looking good at where they're at right now. Obviously, the freshman phenom over there, Emily Armstrong, won the regional meet with a time of 18:14. Then her teammate, Cameron Benson, came in behind at 18:32. And then you had Frisco Reedy's representative, Julia Seelman, and then Amy Vasquez from Tyler High and Lily Schmidt from Wakeland at Frisco came in. Like I said earlier, it's pretty much dominated by Lovejoy. They scored actually, I believe it was 31 points. They scored 31 points. Highland Park was second with 78. Coach does such a great job, and she's been running against them all season long, so they're looking really good. And then Frisco Wakeland came in at third with 88 points. And then qualifying for that final spot was Frisco Reedy with 150 points. Probably the best individual race I felt and I was lucky to be there to watch it, was Region 3 as far as the individuals. You had the lady from Austin Lassa, Eva Cragnolina. That's a big word to say there. She ended up winning the regional meet at 17:51. She followed that up with her obviously win last year, I believe, in track. She won the 3,200, if I remember correctly. Coming in second was Morgan Nelson from Pflugerville Henderson with a time of 17:53. Another freshman phenom from Lake Creek was Haley Hughes, came in at third. And then Rowan Skinner Consolidated fourth, and then one who ran really well for Georgetown was Mia Flowers coming in at fifth. As far as the team totals, it was a close race. Matter of fact, Georgetown and us Consolidated, we were tied going into our fifth runner. We were tied, and then Georgetown just had their fifth runner finish at 35th, and we were at 46, I believe it was. So Georgetown won the meet with 80 points. You had Consolidated with 91. And then Montgomery, who was third with 112 points, they're obviously in our district. They gave us a run at district. And then Friendswood also qualifying again for the state meet. Coach does a great job over there at Friendswood with the fourth place spot with 145 points. Region 4, obviously last year was very, very competitive. I don't want to say not as competitive, but it was super tough last year. Obviously, the state champions, you have your Comal Smithson Valley. Their number one runner, Aubrey Posey, end up running 18:26 to win the championship. New Braunfels had their number one, Savannah Moya, who ended up finishing second. You had Elena Luciendo for Corpus Christi Carroll finished third. Sophia Simpson from McAllen with fourth. And then Sophia Lauren Garza from Mission Sherryland was fifth. The top four teams, obviously, one winning it was Smith and Valley at 49. They're trying to come back and repeat as champions. And then in second place, you had New Braunfels, which kind of I thought was a surprise with Bernie Champion, who had been running really well, ended up getting second. And then Bernie Champion was third, and Leander ended up getting that fourth spot. So that is 5A girls right there. Teams that have qualified and highlighted some individuals for the state meet coming up.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach Branch. Looks like 5A is going to be tough and competitive, just like it usually is.
Yep.
On Friday, so that's the date. That's the race number 2 is the 5A division. So we'll finish up on Friday. The last set of races at 10:55 a.m. is Class 1A. So we're going to take it out to Coach Bates and his Garden City, I believe Bearcats, if that's right. Is that right,
yes,
Coach Bates?
And Lady Cats.
Bearcats. There you go. So he was runner up there in region number, you were
2.
region 2, runner up girls team. So go ahead. Let's talk about 1A.
Okay. Region 1, coming out of Region 1, first place team, coming out of nowhere. They had some good freshmen join the program this year and skyrocketed them up the polls and led them to a Region 1 championship. Coach Hunt and Coach Johnson do a great job over there, but they won the Region 1 meet. Not far behind them was Texline, who's been ranked in the top 10 all year on CCC Cat. Behind them is perennial powerhouse Nazareth. We know they just get better and better throughout the season. We're expecting some fast times from them at the state track meet. Then in a bit of a surprise, snagging that fourth place spot was Petersburg to knock out Grady. That was kind of an upset there. So those are your 4 teams from Region 1. Individuals coming out of there was Kyla Slaughter from Happy. She won the meet with a 12:53. We had Miss Brannon from Claude with a 13:07, and America Flores from Hart ran a 13:28 as the top 3 individuals out of Region 1. out of Region 2, where we came from, golly, Eula's got a stranglehold on the region. They won it for back-to-back years. Coach Fostel just does such a great job over there with his program, and not just cross-country program, but his athletic program. I'm very impressed with the job they do over there at Eula. But they won the meet for the second year in a row. In a bit of an upset, Garden City upset third-ranked Jayton, who was expected to get second there, and we leapfrogged them somehow there. Jayton did come in third, with Jace Chisholm leading the way, one of the favorites to win the state meet down there Friday. Then the fourth place spot, which was a tight race with Erie and County, Roby grabbed that one with Sailor Smith leading the way with a 13-13. Medalist out of Region 2 was a real experienced young lady, just as a sophomore, Danny Ruiz, who finished real well at regionals and at the state meet last year. A freshman from Erie and County, who was the district champion, Presley Parker, clocked a 12:51 in her first regional meet. Then Tatum, another Menard girl, Tatum Chambliss from Menard, ran a 13:20 to get third individual out of Region 2. Out of Region 3, who also had their region meet at Arlington with Region 2. They ran just after us. Coach Gary Davison, Saltillo program, won the regional championship. Right behind them was perennial powerhouse Miller Grove, with all the cross-country tradition they got. Addison May led the way with them with 13:36. After them, who going back-to-back to state trips, is Sulphur Bluff, led by Taylor Johnson. Then the fourth spot was grabbed by Newcastle, Coach Dollar's Newcastle bunch. They ran a strong race to snag that fourth spot. Coming out of medalist for Region 3 was Maddie Browsard out of Bellevue, ran an impressive 12:32 to win the meet. Coach Gill's Aubrey Scott from Huckabee got second, and Laney Allgood from Rising Star was the third individual with a 13:11. Finally, Region 4 was won again by last year's state champion and this season's #1 ranked team all year long. They returned everybody from last year. McMullen County had two young ladies run a sub-13. London Yanity, who's up there favorited to win the meet, and Ella David, both run sub-13s. Yanity's was a 12 flat. Second in Region 4 was Aquila, led by Peyton Russell. Third was no stranger to the state meet, Moulton, led by Ava Gilvarez. Then lastly, Jonesboro snagged the fourth place spot. Have a good runner there, Lindley Dietz, who led the Jonesboro squad. And coming out as medalist for Region 4 is Natalie Flores from San Isidro, Kinsley Collins from Wells, and Arissa Methlin from Zavala. And that's the 1A field for us Friday.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Looks like y'all might actually get into a little bit warmer temperatures on Friday at 10:55. I think they're forecasting 40s when they start the meet, and maybe rising up to, the 60s or 70s right there when y'all race. So it might be near perfect temperatures.
Yeah, that sounds good. We're looking forward to it.
So that wraps up day 1 of the 3 divisions. On day 2, we start off with 4A division at 8:15 a.m. And I'm going to start off and I'll talk about Region 1. We had a couple of individual qualifiers who went on a team that actually medaled in the top 10 up at Region 1. That was in third place was Emily Gross from Dumas, who was at the state meet last year. Solid runner. She ran an 11:20 for third place out of Region 1. In sixth place from Andrews was Abigail Schaefer, who had an 11:33. And then just missing the top 10 medalist was in 11th place, Alexia Martinez from Fabens, who had a 12:02. But those are 3 individuals who weren't on a team that'll be run at the state meet out of Region 1. The teams coming out of Region 1, everybody talks about Region 1 and the region of death and everything, but 4A did not disappoint. 4th place Stephenville overtook Andrews for that 4th spot just by 5 points. They had a 12:45 team average. They are led by Haley Rust, who finished in 9th overall, and she ran an 11:53. In third place, new to 4A a couple of years ago, Canyon West Plains. They had a 12:39 team average, and they are led by Briley Stone. She was 17th overall, and her average was a 12:25, covering that 2-mile course. And then back in the second spot was Canyon Randall with 58 points. So it's a big point drop from 3 to 2 from West Plains to Randall, but another Canyon ISD school. They had an 11:59 average, and they had 3 young ladies who placed in the top 10 outright. They're led by Rebel Ray, who finished in third with an 11:21, and then Brooke French in 6th place with 11:39, and Naomi Granados, who finished 8th in 11:52. So they got 3 girls right there under the 12-minute mark, pushing the paces. And then in the top spot, defending champion from last year in 4A is Canyon High. So 3 Canyon ISD schools qualify out of Region 1. They go 1, 2, 3 in district, and they go 1, 2, 3 again in the region. But Canyon is led by the defending state champion, Addison Bristow, who won the Region 1 overall, and she ran a smooth 10:56. Presley Poole is their second runner, who was 2nd place. She ran an 11:19. Coming in 4th place is Michaela Sharber, 11:31. And then in 7th place was Cricket Morris, 11:52. So 4 girls under 12, 1 under 11. It's going to be fun to watch them at the state meet. So that's Region 1. Moving on to Region 2. The overall individual champion was Abigail Kelly from Lindell. So she qualified as an individual with 11:25. In 5th place was Fabiola Prieto from Hillsboro. She ran a 12:16. In 6th place was Serena Martinez from Wills Point at 12:17. In 8th place was Alondra Dominguez from Gilmer, 12:22. And then in 10th place was Donna Carpenter from Athens at a 12:26. So those 6 young ladies placed in the top 10, not on a team, and they'll be heading to the state meet in 4A Region 2. Teams coming out of Region 2 in 4th place was Godley with a 13-minute team average. Their number 1 runner, Michaela Jetton, was 12:05. Richland, which had a 12:57 team average. In 8th place overall was Hema Adamora at 12:22. And then in 2nd place was Sanger, who's been at the state meet many times, had a 12:48 team average, and they had 2 young ladies in the top 10. In 6th place was Ashton Grawl, and in 2nd place was Farah Huey. And then the top team coming out of Region 2 is going to be Salina. They scored 52 points. They had 2 girls in the top 10. Leading the team was Ava Samuel. In 3rd place, she's a senior this year. She ran 12:12. And in 9th place, Holland Daughter ran a 12:26, and their team average is running 12:37. So that's Region 2 headed to the state meet for 4A. In Region 3, in 3rd place, Annie Stewart from Hudson ran a 12:06 as an individual. Coming out of Katie Freeman, Imani Boki. I might mispronounce that. I apologize if I did. But she ran a 12:23 for 8th place. And then in 10th place, coming out of Burnett, also been at the state meet before, is Asa Roy. She ran a 12:31. The top 4 teams coming out of Region 3. In 4th place was Gatesville, 13:02 team average. Their top runner was 9th overall, Riley Higginbotham, with a 12:28 leading the team. In 3rd place is Lorena, scored 102. 12:50 team average. They had their top runner was 2nd overall, Jayla Fish, who broke the 12-minute mark with 11:58. In 2nd place was Huffman Hargrave with 76, 12:38 team average. And they put 2 girls in the top 10. Lusk was 7th with 12:18, and Peyton Miller was 5th with a time of 12:14. And then returning out of Region 3, which was the 3rd place team last year at the state meet, was Salado. Regional champions again with a 12:21 average. They're led by McCall Boyd, who was 1st for Region 3. She ran 11:52 under the 12-minute mark there. Cade Harris was their 2nd runner in 4th place with 12:09. And Annalie Bryant finished in 6th place with a 12:18. So that's Region 3, top 4 teams and individuals heading to the state meet 4A. Wrapping up in the 4A division from Region 4, individuals we have in third place, Lilia Flo from Geronimo Navarro. She ran an 11:48 under the 12-minute mark. Bianca Vasquez from Robstown was an 11:55 for fifth place. Then coming out of Comal Canyon Lake was Eva Zarba Sinshu, who was seventh with 12:04. And in 10th place was Ariana Rivera from Carrizo Springs with 12:07. And then the 11th, 12th, 13th, 15th, and 16th places just been at the medal stand were the next 5 individual qualifiers. So a lot of individuals mixed in the teams there for Class 4A. The teams coming out of 4A Region 4 will be Wimberley with the 12:54 average. They're led by Karina Joyce, who was second overall in the 11:46. Floresville got into the third spot with a team average of 12:49, and they had one top 10 runner led by Nora Felon, 12:06, who finished 8th. And then Fredericksburg was second with a 12:34 average, led by Rylan Grona as the individual Region 4 champion at 11:42. And leading Region 4 with the regional championship was Davenport with a 12:29 average. They have 2 girls in the top 10. They're actually sisters, Kendall and Macy Fallon, who ran 11:57 and 12:07 respectively. So that's Region 4, 4A. That's 3, 2, 1. That's all the 4A qualifiers, and it's going to be a pretty stacked race at the start Friday off. Moving on to the next race of the day is the 6A division at 9:30 a.m. So we have Coach Freeman out of San Antonio, Reagan, the regional runner-up team out of 4A from San Antonio, Reagan. Coach Freeman, why don't you take us down the 6A rabbit hole?
All right. Well, this 6A race is going to be pretty crazy. We'll start with Region 1. The 4 teams that qualified, the top 3 were at state last year. So we have Flower Mound, South Lake Carroll, Northwest Nelson, and Keller. Flower Mound was the reigning champ last year. I think this year's their 6th. They're going for 6 in a row. So they had 42 points. South Lake Carroll had 107. Northwest Nelson had 121, and Keller had 168. They were led. Flower Mound had their number 1 runner was 3rd. Number 2 was 5th, and then their number 5 runner was in the top 24. So they had all 5 in the top 24. So it's pretty solid. I think they had a 42-second gap. So that's pretty impressive there. Leading that region individually was Macy Wingard from Denton Braswell. She's the reigning state champ. She ran a 16:54, so she set herself out there leading it pretty well. Second place was Maya Easternwood from Copel. She ran 17:21. And then fourth place was Kylie Vega from El Paso Eastwood, 17:58. Emily Orr from El Paso Franklin in 18:08. Annalisa Hall from Denton Geyer in 1810. Remington from Weatherford, she was 1820. And then Aliva Sparlinger from Prosper was 1828. So South Lake Carroll, their top runner was 9th overall. She was 1820. And then Northwest Nelson, their top runner was 25th, Layla Callaway. But their gap was 25 seconds. So their top runner was 25th, and then they got everybody in 25 seconds. So that was pretty impressive there for Region 1. They're going to be a pretty hot region at the state meet. Region 2, we had Bridgeland in first with 24 points. Conroe the Woodlands in second with 51 points. Conroe the Woodlands College in third with 153, and then Wiley East with 172. In Region 2, you had Laney Barnes that won overall. She was 1709. And then the next 9 spots were actually team finishers. So the top 10 went pretty far out. So 11th place was Jody Rodner from Klein Oak in 1848. Marty East from Tyler Legacy in 1849. Reese Bartos from Waxahachie in 1903. Presley Avos from Conroe Oak Ridge in 1917. And Sophia Domasaris from Conroe Grand Oak. Sorry, there's so many different Conroes. 1919. So that's a pretty tough region there. And And then moving on to Region 3, we had Katie with 45 points. Humble Kingwood in second with 111 points. Katie Jordan with 127 points, and Katie Maid Creek with 135. In Region 3, Katie had 45 points, so they had a 58-second gap. And they had, their top runner was Lauren Akopa. In 1814, she was third overall. And then their number 5 was 17th, so they got their people in pretty quick. Then Humble Kingwood, their top runner, Ella Nari, was 1834, and Katie Jordan was 9th in 1838. Sophia Peterson from Houston Memorial took the overall championship in 1802. Casey, I'm going to mispronounce this last name, Skerperel from Katie Taylor was second in 1803. Missy Hand from Katie Taylor was fourth in 1819. Carolyn Reyna, Katie Seven Lake in 1821. Janie Cardenas from Marvell, 1833. Brianna Padilla from Pearland Dawson in 1835. Sophia Handani from Houston Bel Air in 1839. And Jessica Cardenas from Manville in 1844. So they had a pretty tough region there. And then moving on to Region 4, we had San Antonio Johnson win the championship again in 72 points. San Antonio Reagan was second with 104. Austin Bowie was third with 112, and Austin Vandegraaff was fourth with 141. I know Austin Vandegraaff's a pretty young team, so he's working with them. Johnson had a 54-second gap. They were led by where'd she go? Kira Albino. Nope, sorry. Ariana Pinero. She ran 1927, and then she was 14th, and then Kira Albino was 16th, Emily Crott was 17th, and Isabella Porter was 18th. So in 1937, for Reagan, our top runner was 5th overall. Theone Glosser was 1903. And then we had a freshman was 24th, Ellie Spurlock in 1954. For Bowie, Maya McAuley ran 1929 to lead them for that third place finish. And then Austin Vandegraaff had Caroline Krupa in 1847, who finished third, and Tibby Mustachia in 1904, who finished sixth to lead them off. So I know being in Region 4, we were down in Corpus and it was miserably hot and humid. So we're welcoming the cooler weather that we're hoping to get this weekend. So
I can't agree with you more. The
Yeah.
Region 4 course and heat is it's just always never disappoints. How's that?
No, never.
So, all right. Well, I'm looking forward to watching that 6A race. It never disappoints. There's always competitors out there, and I'm glad that 4A kind of goes right before 6A because as soon as we're done running, we turn around and we get to watch y'all run. So I'm looking forward to it. Finishing up on Saturday. So to wrap up the state meet this year is Class 2A. I'm going to go ahead and run through those qualifiers real quick, and we're going to start with Region 1. There were, looks like 5 girls that placed in the top 10, not on a team. Leading the way in the first spot was Issa McGinnis out of Sterling City with a 12:08. And then there was Alexis Wade from Farewell, who was second. Ava Jaime from Farewell was 5th. They had 2 in the top 10 there. And Caitlin Clausen from Sundown was 6th. Finishing up in the 10th spot was Tatum Kane from Wellington. So those are 5 top individuals that are headed to the state meet out of Region 1 for 2A. As far as the teams go, the 4th place team was Coleman, who had a 1340 team average, followed by in 3rd was Wink right in front of them. They had actually both same scores, both scored 153. So you always kind of like to see every now and then that tiebreaker going to the 6th runner and who had the better depth. And Wink pulled it off with a 76th place finish there with their 6th runner, Bristol Tompkins. They had a 1344 team average. In the 2nd spot, runner up was Clarendon, I guess. They were 1332. And they are led by Madeline Benson, who was 7th overall with a 1251. And in the top spot, again, I believe, is Groover They had a 1309 team average led by Paisley Quirk, who was third overall with a 1240. So that's 2A Region 1. 2A Region 2, we had 4 girls that placed in the top 10 on a team. So in the 5th and 6th spot was Ansley Tarpley and Skylar Harrison, both from Lipan, 1248 and 1256 respectively. In 8th place was Cameron Powers coming out of Crawford at 1304. And in 10th place was Landry Atkins out of Haskell, 1306. Teams qualifying for 2A in 4th place was Santo, 1354 average. They were led by Gracie Sides, their team leader, at 1209. In the 3rd spot was Hiko. I always mispronounce. I don't know if it's Heiko or Hiko, but they were third with a 1426 average, led by McCanley Claire with a 1410 time. Cisco was in the 2nd spot, 1355 team average, led by Lola Hart, 1318. And returning to the number 1 spot again with a low score of 20 was Hamilton, 1234 team average. They had all 5 of their girls in the top 10. So Chaska Downs, Anna Percy, Presley Long, Kate Langfeld, and Caitlin Walton. Their top 3 runners were 1207, 1217, 1221. So they're going to be a force at the state meet coming out of 2A. Heading into Region 3. In 2nd place was Madison Grigsby from Timpson, 1233. In 3rd place, coming out of Chilton, was Yarita De Leon at 1255. In the 5th spot, Eva Bragg from New Summerfield, 1315. And also qualifying as an individual, the last 2 in the 6th spot, Rayleigh Rubio from Fruitvale, 1316. And grabbing the 9th spot, Janet Batista from Groveton, 1327. So they'll be attending the state meet as individuals from Region 3. Teams coming out of 2A Region 3 in 4th place was LCN Fields, 1431 team average, led by Kara Sims with an 1136. Extremely impressive time there coming out of 2A sub 12. In 3rd spot, Centerville, 1429 team average, led by Kayla Mast, 1312. Gladewater Union Grove, everyone's familiar with them being at the state meet. They were the runner-up team coming out of that region with a 1439 average. And then Douglas with 52 points to lead the way with a 1348, led by their top runner, Anahi Mays, with a 1326. So that's 2A Region 3. And then coming down out of Region 4, 2A girls, there were about 5 girls that placed in the top 10, not on a team. The first one in 5th place was Raven Sandoval from Thorndale with the 1255. In 7th place was Skyly Bear from Thorndale, again, a 1303. So they got 2 in there. In 8th place was Ollie Doyle from Johnson City LBJ. So she ran a 1304. She was a freshman. In 9th place was Caitlin Brown from Refugio, 1305. And in the 10th spot, Addison Tuck from Ganado, 1311. Teams coming out of Region 4 2A. Leading the way was Goldthwaite in the 1st spot, team average of 1341. They had 2 girls in the top 10 at 2nd and 4th. Port Aransas was the runner-up team, and they had the overall 1st place finisher there with a 1347 average. 3rd place team was Mumford, 1354 average, 1 girl in the top 10 at 3rd, and Skidmore Tynan at 1355 average with their leader finishing in 6th. So that is 2A girls, individuals, and teams headed to the state meet. All right, that's all of the qualifiers from all of the divisions over the 2 days. So before we wrap up and break this meeting out, I'm going to go back and we're going to kind of give each coach a chance to talk about maybe their prediction, what they know coming out of the division for who the top teams can contend for the medal stand. Top 3 teams out of the 16 will earn plaques and medals. And then the top 10 individuals will earn medals. Top 3 getting on the medal stand with a photo. So let's go back and let's talk to Coach Crisler. Let's talk about the 3A division and what you think might happen.
Sorry, I've been muted for a little while, so how to remember to turn it back on.
There you go.
No, you're good. Yeah, 3A is going to be a battle. I've talked to a lot of different coaches, and really, there's a really tight race between. I mean, we've talked. The 3 teams want to see at the medaling stand, but there's 6 teams that are really fighting for those 3 spots. I've heard in years past, this is one of my second year coaching. I had to go to state. I had the honor of getting to go to state for a second year, but I've heard that in years past, it's just been 1 or 2, maybe 3 teams that fight and get those three spots. But talking with someone that's been there a long time, and Coach Griffin at Holiday, he was like, this year is a lot different. And I agree with him. There's about 6 teams. Like out of Region 1, for instance, you got Holiday and ourselves. We've had a really good team this year. Holiday's obviously got strong runners at the top. Kinley Atwood and Sarah Spears both cracked 12 minutes. So they're going to be strong as always. And then our team we don't have anybody cracking the 12s, but our consistency 1 through 7 really has been strong all year. So I'm excited to see how that matches up with the rest of the state. Out of Region 2, I mean, Region 2 has got almost 3 itself with Eustis, Whitesboro, and Pilot Point. Eustis won the Hoka McNeil back in early September, so they're going to be really good. And then in that race at 3A division 1A through 3A, it was us, Eustis, and Lytle right within about, I want to say 10 points at that race. Holiday was in the 4A division, but even then, like, it's been tight all year long. And then speaking about Lytle, Region 4, Poth and Lytle both with really good team averages, with really good runners. Brooklyn Albert for Poth and Francis Scottello for Lytle. There's just a lot of consistency. And then you got East Bernard. I mean, they've also got a really strong team. They're 1 through 5 runners finished in about a 50-second split. So they are extremely tight. So if I had to make a prediction for Region 3, I'd probably say Holiday, East Bernard, Poth. But again, I mean, it's been back and forth between all the other state ourselves. Eustis could be up there. There's just it's gonna come out who's ready, and it's gonna be cold. It's gonna be early in the morning, 8:15. So it's gonna be quite the battle. And then for first place overall individually, Kinley Atwood will be looking to try and get up there for that first place medal. Brooklyn Bewley out of Valley View won Region 2, so she'll be trying to fight for that first place. Brindley McFarland, if you ever had a chance to watch her run, she runs like a unit. And then Julia Alcott out of Great Hearts, Northern Oaks. So 3A is kind of exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited to see how our kids respond to the adversity of having so many teams battling. You're going to be hearing all sorts of coaches yelling and screaming to get in front of those other teams because it is tight. I just kind of messed around and looked at what it would look like doing like just a mock run up of what it might look like for just us top 6 to 8 teams. I should say 6, 7, these kids nowadays, but top 6 to 8 teams. And it was close. I mean, it was like within 15 to 20 points. So it's going to be really tight. I'm excited to see just it's going to be fun. I'm really excited for it. I'm ready to see the adversity kids all face between all the different schools. So should be a fun race and a very exciting one. So if you have a chance to get up early in the morning, race, you better come watch because it's gonna be tight. So
it's gonna be a great race, and good luck to you and everyone else. But thank you for covering 3A tonight, and 3A is gonna be a fun race to watch. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a cold race though. All right, we're gonna take it over. Anthony Branch, man. Let's talk about that 5A. Who do you think could be on the medal stand in that second race of the day on Friday, and maybe individually?
Well, it's going to be very competitive, and like I said, I think when I look at this, when I look at the individuals who's got a chance to compete and win it all, it's going to be very competitive. I think in Region 4 we had 4 girls that are right in the mix of it. I think Eva Cragnolino is going to be probably the favorite. She's running really well, really tough runner. I think it's hers to lose. I really do. Now, with that being said, I think Morgan Nelson's going to fight like crazy and try to beat her as well. I think Haley Hughes from Lake Creek is going to be in the mix of that. Rowan Skinner's going to be in the middle of that thing. All 4 of those girls were at the 2 mile. They were neck and neck the whole race. And then that's when they started pulling away. And I'd say the 2.5 mile mark is when it started thinning out there. But I'll tell you a couple other kids that I think are going to make a run who's had success at the state meet. Molly Garrison from Lido. She's going to be trying to do her best to try to win the state championship. A girl who ran really well early in season. She hadn't ran as well lately, But the girl from New Braunfels, Savannah Moya, she won the Lovejoy meet. Rowan finished second in that meet. I thought she ran really well, and they both broke 18 at that meet. So I think she's going to be mixing that. And I'll tell you, don't count out the freshman from Lovejoy, Emily Armstrong, who has ran it pretty impressive this year. So I think when it comes down to that 5A race, it's going to be very competitive. It should be a lot of fun to watch that race. I promise if there's any of y'all that are not there, you're going to miss a heck of a race. And we'll obviously have a new state champions this year in the 5A division. As far as the team totals, I think right now it's Lovejoy. They're running really well. You know, coach has got them going again. But do not count out Smithson Valley, even though they don't have Brady running. She's kind of out right now. They're not gonna go down without a fight. So I think those two teams are gonna be battling. Of course, obviously last year Smithson Valley I think they just wiped everybody off the map with their race and pretty much won by like 40 points, I believe. But I'll tell you, from 3 to about 9 to 10, man, you can just flip a coin. I could think it could be any of these teams because they're so competitive and they're so good. It's just going to depend on who runs well as a team there. And the teams that I think of, obviously, I'm saying Georgetown, who beat us. I thought they snuck up and got us at the regional meet, ran really well. You have Grapevine, who's very competitive. Frisco Wakeland is in the middle of that. Highland Park. I mean, you can't forget about what Coach Bailey's done at Highland Park. They do a very good job there. And then of course Alito is going to be in the mix. They're not going down with that fight this year, having been second and third the past 2 years. And then A&M Consolidated, we've finished fifth last year, and so we're in the battle of on the podium spots. But it wouldn't surprise me if any of those teams, it could go in any way, any order. So it's going to be a fun, tight race for the individuals, and it's going to be another fun, exciting race when it comes down to team totals.
I can't agree more. I'm looking forward to kind of seeing the results. Sad for me because I want to be there to watch, but I'll be driving a bus right at that time, about 8:39 in the morning, heading that way, right when y'all are running. So I'll have my girls watching live results, and they'll be calling it out to me, which will be good. So good luck to you on Friday. Wish
Thank
you
you.
luck. It's going to be a fun race to watch.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, let's take it over to Coach Bates. 1A, wrap up the day on Friday. Give us your thoughts. Who could it be in the medal stand? You're muted, Coach.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, not a problem.
All right, for the medalist, I think it's a 3-person race. Honestly, I think it's Yanity who leads McMullen County, the overall team favorite. I think Jace Chisholm from Jayton, just a little competitor. I've seen her on the basketball court. I've seen her on the cross country course, and she just gives it all she's got, no matter where her feet are. And you can't count out Danny Ruiz from Menard, who was up there on the medal stand, I believe, at state last year. I think those three are going to be competing for those medals. Then throw in there Brazard from Bellevue and Ella David from McMullen County for top 5. As far as teams go, I think just McMullen County has to be the favorite to repeat. Their times have been great all year. They bring back everybody from last year. Coach Billingsley has done a great job with that program down there. If anybody's going to compete and challenge them for that first spot, I think it's Coach Fostel's EULA group, who's been running solid all year long, and he does a good job of getting them faster every single week. So I think it's them two battling out for 1-2. Then that last spot on the podium, I think it's a 5-way battle. Honestly, I think it's us at Garden City. I think it's Jayton, led by Jace Chisholm, Guthrie, winner of Region 1, Texline, who was just right there behind them, and perennial state qualifier Nazareth is in the mix too. So I think it's just going to be how well your kids run on that individual day, and who finishes the strongest. And I think that's going to dictate who gets that third spot. One thing I'm excited about my Lady Cats is we come in with the lowest spread. Our spread at the regional meet was 45 seconds from 1 to 5. And I'm hoping that plays a big difference in the placing and the points. And who knows, fingers crossed, maybe we get up there on the medal stand, but we're going to have to go earn it. It's going to be close.
Never know. Just got to run the race, but that's definitely a good spread. And I think you'll be in the mix. That'll be good.
Thank you.
One thing about it, everyone always knows you got to run the race, and it doesn't matter what's on paper. Just got to see what happens at the end. So everyone's kind of got a chance, truly.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you. Thank you for joining the show tonight too. So I appreciate all the insight. Looking forward to seeing your team's results and how they do on Friday.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you having me.
All right, heading down to 4A. Talking about the overall individual, I don't think anybody can disagree. And I think if anyone can go and you can get a chance to watch the 4A race, you need to go watch Addison Bristow out of Canyon. I've been watching her the last 4 years. She's finally a senior, but watched her at the McNeil meet in the 1 through 4A division ran, and she ran a 10:53 on that state preview course, and it was still kind of under construction. She made it look easy. So I really think that unless she has an off day or something's wrong, she should take the top overall individual spot. But after that, there are about 8 girls that are sub 12, and it can be any one of them landing in that 2 and 3 spot. You have Presley Poole from Canyon, Emily Gross from Dumas, Rebel Ray from Canyon Randall, Ryland Grona from Fredericksburg, Karina Joyce out of Wimberley, Abigail Kelly out of Lindale, and then Abigail Schaefer out of Andrews. If they all have a solid day, they'll all be going back and forth, and it'll be 1, 2, 3, just a 1-point spread, 1 second spread as they're crossing the finish line for those top 10 spots. But as far as the team goes, you got to go back to the state champion last year, Canyon, at the McNeil meet. And as I was at the finish line, I was watching them run, and I watched Addison Bristow come through, but then I watched their 2, 3, 4, 5 all come in front of our 2 runner. And they were impressive. I honestly don't think if they are on top of their A game and they all feel good and they're healthy, they're going to run away with it. And they very well could push a new 4A low score record, in my opinion. But good luck to Coach Baca. He does a great job of getting them ready. Plenty of state titles out there, and I know he will. And it's going to be fun to watch the Canyon group run. But as far as the 2nd and 3rd spots, Canyon, Randall, Salado, Davenport out of Region 4, Fredericksburg, Salina, West Plains, and Huffman-Argrave, they'll all be battling. It's going to come down to their 4th and 5th runners, who scores and gets those last 2 medal spots, 2nd and 3rd. And you never know. Some of them may end up winning the state title. I've seen that happen too. So 4A is going to be a fun race to watch. Lots of fast times. It'll start off the day on Saturday. And then we'll head over to the 6A division. So Coach Freeman, give us a little insight on what you think might happen in 6A in the 2nd division of the day.
All right. Well, like I said earlier, it's going to be a crazy race to start. Flower Mound, obviously, they won last year and they're going for their 6th in a row. So I think they're going to be pretty tough to beat on the team side. But Bridgeland at regionals had a 45-second gap. And, so we'll see when they get together what happens. Flower Mound edged them out last year. So I'm sure they've been practicing with Flower Mound on their mind all season. So we'll see what happens there. But I think they'll go 1-2. And then really between 3rd and the top 7 teams from last year are all returning, so they all have experience. They're all ready to come back and do some other things. So between South Lake Carroll, Northwest Nelson, Katy, and San Antonio Johnson, any one of those could really take that 3rd spot. Just whoever decides to run that day, and bring it together as a team. As far as individuals go, Macy Wingard, she's been from Denton Braswell. She's been strong all season. She's gone under 17 a few times, so that's pretty hard to beat. Lainey Barnes from Houston Cypress Woods has a low 17, and Maya Easterwood from Copels, they've both gone low 17, so I think they're going to kind of fight it out for the top 3 spots. Then you have Evangeline Williams from Wiley East with 17:48. They've all broke 18. So Hope Smith from Bridgeland, Naomi Weller from Conroe the Woodlands, and then Adeline Benny from Flower Mound. I mean, she has experience. She's been there before, so I think it's just going to be a battle and see. But I think Macy Wingard, she's defending that state champ, so she's going to be hard to get. She's a tough racer, so.
It's going to be fun to watch. And you said it right. It's all
Yeah.
going to be about the team aspect too on that medal stand. A lot of people talk about looking at the fastest runners, but in my opinion, it's not necessarily maybe who's the fastest, but it's the group that races as a team and believes in each other and has confidence is healthy this week that's going to get on that medal stand. So good luck to you and your team. I'm looking forward to seeing y'all run. Thank you for joining us and helping us in the 6A division.
Yeah, thank you
all
for
right.
having me.
To finish up 2A, so individually, there are 5 girls who are less than 12:15. I think it can come down to any one of them. Kara Sims from Elysian Fields at 11:36, and then Lee DePiper out of Port Aransas with an 11:57. And they're not far behind them is Chaska Downs from Hamilton at 12:07. Sterling City has Issa McGims at 12:08. And then right behind her is Gracie Sykes at 12:09 from Santo. So any one of them I think can run, and there may be some other girls that are right there in the mid-12s that can have a PR moment and chase the medal stand as well. Teams coming back. Hamilton's the defending state champion, so I think that they have a team again. They're there. They have the experience that they'll contend for that top spot. Groover also was on the medal stand last year in 3rd, so they're coming back. So those are probably the top 2 teams, but other teams, Clarendon, Goldthwaite, Douglas, Port Aransas, Wink, and Cisco are all in the mix on their team averages, and it's just about coming down to who has a solid race as a team and is ready to go. So it's going to be an exciting state meet. That's the 1A through 6A state meet Friday and Saturday. Hope everyone enjoyed this evening, the insight and what's going to happen on Friday, Saturday. We hope everyone can make a trip down there and watch these young ladies compete and represent their schools and their communities, and just females in the state of Texas. It's one of the greatest things to watch is these girls compete and pour their heart out onto the course and finish. And some of them collapse, some of them are crying in tears, but it's fun to end the season at the state meet, and everyone that there's, did an awesome job to get there. So wish everyone good luck, safe travels to not just spectators, but all coaches and stuff. And on behalf of TGCA, we thank you all for joining us this evening. So, good luck to everyone.
Thanks, Coach.